Isn't it a beautiful Friday evening? Yes, it is. It's a beautiful traffic-filled Friday evening in Lagos. That may not be news to many of you, but the truth is, here in Lagos, we're battling traffic, and traffic is a part of everyday living. I don't know how your week has been. Mine has been fantastic. BKB, as usual.
Traffic-filled evening. I agree with you.
How are you, darling?
I'm very well.
You're good.
Yeah. I noticed the traffic when I was coming for that time of the night.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's quite unusual, right?
Very unusual.
Oof. So, you know, I would say that for every Lagosian, let's put ability to cope with traffic on our CV when we're looking for jobs. that's what I think, right, in my opinion. That's honestly what I think. Without much ado, please do not go away as we take a quick break and go to our first segment. Welcome back. If you're just joining in, this is my thoughts. My name is Priscilla Benjamin-Olaoye, as usual. We had quite a few information that was passed to us in the first segment, and we'll be moving quickly to our major discussion for the day. Some people find this situation as attention-seeking. Others find it others call it weakness. Some other people think that being suicidal is spiritual. Exactly, I said what we are supposed to talk about. What exactly are we talking about today? We're talking about suicide. You know, we have been handling our mental health series in a few weeks. In about a few weeks, we've been handling our mental health series, and we will continue today with suicide. Is it a weakness? Is it spiritual? Is it all of the questions that you may have? If you have someone who is probably dealing with some emotional challenges and has, you know, shown some of these signs, please feel free to call on this show now or send your WhatsApp messages. We would love to hear from you. And definitely, as usual, we have a renowned professional with us who will be taking this topic with us. We're privileged to have a senior consultant, Dr. Richard Adebayo. Thank you very much, sir, for coming on the show again. BKB and I were able to drag you again to come on this show. I know Fridays are your clinic days. You're super busy, but thank you so much for choosing to come again.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. You people are doing a great job.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adebayo. So we're talking suicide today. I know the last time you were here, we talked about the myths around mental health and all of that. Now, the word suicide has been jumping all over around, and I know that you listened to the first segment where BKB also shared a story about a DJ who dropped a suicide note. We also know that we do not have mental health policies in this country at the moment, you know, active mental health policies. And just as the police stormed the house of the DJ who dropped a suicide note, we know the Senate also passed a bill to say that anyone caught committing suicide should be arrested as if it is a crime. You know, all that conversation is still ongoing. We know that they are still not yet informed as to the right policies to pass, but that's because there is no adequate information going on. So we want to educate as many people. People do not know how to handle it. And I know we would oftentimes say that suicide is a psychiatric emergency. So let me start by asking you this question. Can counseling, before we even say that, you know, what can you do, or types of suicide, I remember you said you didn't want to be too academic, you know, with the conversation. People hear of people wanting to commit suicide and all of that, but I would, you know, want you to at least have some opening statement or some opening education to, you know, people who are listening and people who do not even know what to do. When they find people who are going through these emotional challenges and are dropping suicide notes, what is the first thing that should come to mind? What generally should we know about this situation?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
It's unfortunate that people at this age still want to criminalize suicide. Suicide is a very urgent, very severe public health concern. It's a public health issue. And it's multidimensional. And the factors responsible for this are so many too. So it's not easy like that, and it's not going to be helpful to just criminalize that. To have life is a very fundamental human attribute, to enjoy life. So when you get into a state that an individual is tired of life and wants to end it all, there's something wrong. It's not just by compounding the situation and saying that you want to criminalize that. That will not help people. Suicide has been with mankind for so many centuries, so many thousands of years. So it's not really a new thing. But we are having, it's terrible, disheartening increase now. The number of people, opting for suicide. And that should be a thing of concern for every one of us. Not just to the health sector, but everywhere, everybody. You see young children even committing suicide, teenagers committing suicide. You see elderly people also committing suicide. On a daily basis, we hear of people ending their lives. So every one of us should have a new reawakening and see how we can all come together and help people who are in need. Not just trying to stigmatize them or label them or criminalize them.
Dr. Adebayo,
yes.
Let me come in here. Two things I want to share, I want to comment on. The first is what you just said about criminalizing this condition or situation. Maybe because the government, like someone posted one time, the government owns your life. You can't be born until the government says you're born. That's birth certificate. You can't die until the government says you're dead.
Yes.
Death certificate. You can't buy a car until the government says you have a license. You can't even marry until the government says so practically the government owns your life in a way. So maybe that's why they criminalize that. Your life, you can't take it unless I'm involved. In any case, that's just on the lighter note.
Yes.
Where I really want us to point attention to is this Sonny Rabo writer. He wrote something very profound. I don't know whether they can put it on the screen for our viewers to see. He wrote something very profound, that suicide is on the high now all over the world, particularly let's focus on Nigeria now, that there are no more true friends and there are no more adults around. In terms of the kids will see, the adults will see, a certain age group, that what you see, they're just kids in adult body. They're children. Immature adults are being churned out every day now. You go to certain places, you think this person should know to do or handle this thing, but they can't. They're just children in adults' body. And then he also went on to say the society now glamorizes.
Let me quickly read that. He says that Sonny Rabo wrote to say that friends, adults are now are now enemies. Mm-hmm. He says the race is measured by wealth and nothing else. Setbacks are mourned as a wasted life by those who should give love and genuine support. So a troubled man becomes the butt of jokes by those in whom he is reposited his trust. Calamities befall them. He says every day he celebrates only the rich, so the troubled man walks around with his troubles in his heart.
That's a pastor.
Smiles all the children masquerading as adults around him. One day, he would weigh it all over again and say, no, it is enough. True mature friends are now very scarce. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that write-up?
Yes, that was thought-provoking, and is what every one of us should read and ponder about, I come back to the issue of criminalizing or not criminalizing. When you criminalize suicide, in the real sense of it, the victim is gone. You can't even arrest. So it's only those who attempt, ending their lives, what we call deliberate self-harm, that you can now say you want to arrest and jail or whatever. But for an individual has committed suicide, is gone. That life is gone. And a lot of people are attempting their lives every day, but we don't even know. So as long as we try to look at it from the legalistic perspective, we're not going to help anybody. Someone who was happy yesterday and today is fed up with life. Somebody masking, his condition or condition, and you think this person is normal, only to hear that he has chosen the way of suicide. That person is gone. If we change our perspective about this, we are going to help a lot of people. Someone being suicidal does not mean the person is weak. There are many
because
factors.
I was going to come to
not
that.
Not all the time. That
would
that
you
the person
say,
is
because
weak.
I hear people say that, oh, be strong, that, oh, it's because you are a weakling. That's why you won't take your life. This life is too sweet too. What really is going on in the mind, sir, of someone who decides to say, you know what, I'm done?
Yeah. For an individual to have gotten to that level of saying that, look, I'm tired of life, it means there is no hope again. The person sees the present situation as negative, no hope. He sees the future as hopeless. When an individual is so pessimistic like that, he doesn't see any reason why he should live another day. Every day looks like a body.
So does it mean that anybody can get to that stage? Even those who are saying you must be weak, it means that they also can get to that phase where they do not see a ray of hope.
Exactly. Even those legalizing, even those who are stigmatizing, may we not get to that situation that an individual will think the way of suicide.
So invariably, the person does not have, the person's sense of judgment,
Yeah, we'll say the sense of judgment has become impaired. And something must have happened that made that sense of judgment impaired.
Do you want to run us through some of those?
There are different types of suicide.
Yes, sir.
And let's look at one of it. That even the so-called society or the government, they are even the cause of that. Okay? Let's look at fatalistic types of suicide, whereby your level or the society itself has made things so difficult that people now feel that they are tired of everything. We've heard of people in the Arab world, the Arab Spring that happened in the northern part of Africa a few years back, that led to the downfall of Muammar Gaddafi and some other leaders in those parts of the continent. Okay, you had someone just coming out and set himself ablaze, put himself on fire, and because the societies is no longer integrating that person well. The society has made it difficult for that person to survive. So you hear of people deliberately, they are tired of everything around them. The society, the government, makes things so difficult. What do you expect them to do? An individual is jobless. An individual does not have a hope of living. And then probably is also passing through a lot of difficult conditions or probably having a terminal disease. There's no hospital,
because people keep saying that
where you go for
every
treatment.
Time you hear someone...
You cannot even afford the treatment.
You hear things like, oh, he's depressed. So is it only depression?
Depression is not the only thing. Although you can say that, yes, to a large extent, a kind of egoistic depression, that's the area of involvement is rather too weak. Okay?
Can you break that down?
Yes, the person area, in suicide, it has to do with an individual's involvement with the society in terms of either involvement or integration.
Okay.
So in the area of involvement, when an individual has isolated himself, the involvement with society is weak.
Okay, that's
the relationship with the society is weak. So that person has isolated himself. Fewer friends, socially withdrawn from people, okay? Then issue of depression, loneliness, isolation, then depression. Well, that accounts for over 50% of types of suicide. Yes.
But there are others.
Yes, there are others. Yes.
Because I actually want to ask you about the others. Because the suicide that is based on, say, depression or economic factors or not meeting
and some other mental
health issues.
So is the other mental? How do you compare?
Other mental health issues.
How do you distinguish between if this one is based on economic factor or this is a mental illness situation?
Oftentimes, people who commit suicide would have made some attempts
before.
Yeah, but not successful. So it's very likely that some of them must have been having some encountering with mental health people that will be able to know this is what this person has been passing through. Some would have been saying it, that they're tired of life, talking about deaths, talking about when they will not be alive, when they will not be around again, how people will take care of their loved ones and all that. Those are the cues that will make us to know that an individual is getting close to that bridge. Not necessarily the physical bridge, but, or at the edge of the cliff, so to say. Oh, this person is depressed and does not even see why he should leave or why she should leave. So oftentimes we'll know. Most of the people that eventually commit suicide would have made an attempt at one stage or the other, or would have had an encounter with mental health experts in the last maybe few weeks before they actually make that attempt. For those who belong to that egoistic types of suicide, all right? So one would have been able to see the telltale signs. It's not only depression for some people, some drug addiction, substance use disorders, especially opioids, and also those on prescription medications who have been abusing that. Sometimes they may swallow those drugs in order to just sleep off and not to wake up again. Some are tired of their problems. Some are alcoholics. They are addicted to alcohol. And it gets to a stage they are tired. Okay? Yeah, even cannabis is also another one too.
Marijuana.
Yes, marijuana. Then those who have some other form of mental disorders, like bipolar affective disorders, they may get tired of their situation.
The highs and lows.
The schizophrenia, that's a major psychiatric or psychotic disorders. Usually when they are managed and they seem to have gained insight, they are getting well. And they now remember what happened.
When they broke down.
Maybe they
so that brings us
they are shamed.
Maybe they street naked and all that. They are reminded of those things. Or they have clear awareness of what happened at that time now. The shame, the low self-esteem can make such people to succumb to that. People with seizure disorder too, or epilepsy, because of the stigma associated with that, they are tired of it, every now and then throwing fits, the place of work, lost job, not able to cope among peers, or people stigmatizing them, may get to a stage that they are just tired, and they just want to end it all.
In case you're just joining us, we would like you to send your questions. There are people who who probably are dealing with one thing or the other. We want you to send in your WhatsApp messages as the numbers are scrolling on the screen. Send in your messages. Dr. Adebayo, please quickly, could you help, someone who is listening out there who does not know what to do because there is somebody he or she knows dealing with one thing or the other, or who has attempted before. Is it the time for counseling? Is it the time for prayer and fasting? What are the little steps that people could take when they have someone who is dealing with
when we have
suicidal tendencies?
Positive relationship or positive outlook or positive way of involving people, it goes a long way in ameliorating their problems. So good social support, rather than being judgmental, rather than being stigmatizing an individual. You see somebody who has withdrawn to his shell, no longer his usual self. Instead of us judging that person, we can get closer to that individual and find out. Even counseling, can go a long way. And then we now discover that even this mere counseling is not really helping this individual. We can encourage such people to meet mental health experts or a general practitioner who can refer appropriately. It may not just be medication alone that person would need. It may just be psychotherapy, psychological involvement, or social involvement, social workup, and the person will be helped.
So that is multi-approach at helping
the pastors, community leaders, everybody can be involved in one way or the other. Not worsening their situation, but helping them positively.
May I ask you this quickly, Dr. Adebayo? What if a case? What do you do, or how do you see the case of someone who, or categorize that kind of case of someone who has been, attempting suicide,
Yes.
And the person has been seen a mental health person, but still, because you made mention of something. You said most of the people that commit suicide, even for the egoistic category.
Yes.
Most of them have been exposed to one mental health person or the other before they eventually, got there, or gets there. What do you make of a situation like that? This person has been attempted to commit suicide, and then he has been seeing a mental health practitioner over and over again. Is it that they are not, if the person continues to see a mental health practitioner and is still continuing to attempt that suicide, is it that they are not doing their job right, or they have not discovered the real cause of how to tackle that person's peculiar condition? Or is it that, what is really the situation? Because I want to believe if you're seeing a mental health over and over and you still continue, something is still not right. Maybe the person is not getting the help they needed.
Yes, I said earlier that there are multiple factors that are involved in suicide or deliberate self-harm. I've seen an individual who has been making an attempt for the past 15 years.
Oh.
Yeah. So it would be wrong to dismiss that person and say that, okay, it's just attention seeker.
Oh, no.
No, even if it's attention seeker can take it too far sometimes.
True.
And end his or her life, even though not deliberately. Wow. So we don't look at anyone and say, maybe it's just attention seeker. Okay? What you said also bring to the fore an aspect of suicide, okay, or depression, okay, that is biological.
Okay.
There are chemicals in the brain that are involved. We call them neurotransmitters, especially serotonin. So people with low serotonin, they have that tendency to have depression. And also, when depression gets to a stage, having a tripod stand of negative feelings about oneself, negative feeling about the environment, and negative feelings about the future, that is the tripod stand. That person is close to suicide. And sometimes it may be the serotonin.
That's low.
The chemical also that is low. There may be other psychosocial problems or factors.
So what's the fastest way of dealing with this situation?
Even though that person is being treated, being managed, all right, we'll still continue on the multiple approach. Biological treatment, that's pharmacology, drugs, medications, and also psychological involvement, and good social support, positive environment and all that will go a long way in helping that person. But that doesn't mean the person cannot have a kind of a lapse or a relapse at one stage or the other.
Okay.
So we still rally around.
Let me quickly take this, Dr. Adebayo. There's a WhatsApp message for us. It says, thank you, Priscilla and Dr. Richard, for the insight on suicide. You both are mental health experts. How can you reduce the act? How can we reduce the act of suicide in Nigeria?
Yes.
So generally, which tailors into what you've been saying.
Exactly.
But as a nation, so it says, how can we identify what could be responsible for it? We need immediate intervention. Yes, we are in a global crisis.
Thank you for that.
Because it's not just Nigeria.
Yes, I agree with that person. Yeah. And the writer of that one, or the person that's saying that, is also part of the people involved that can help people.
Fantastic.
All right, okay, you know somebody, your friend, your colleagues, schoolmates, fellow workers, who is now like a shadow of himself, but things are not getting on well. Encourage such people. Don't allow the issue of stigma and whatever, or the person's fear that maybe I can get arrested or not. Help such people to seek for help. All right. What we are doing today is part of the measures, public enlightenment. Let's continue to enlighten people. Let's continue to demystify the issues surrounding
this
suicide.
Big masquerade.
Don't let us continue to deceive ourselves that it's not a problem. It's a problem. There's another type of suicide that is also that we thought in the past that that's in foreign lands. Okay, altruistic suicide.
Oh yes.
Yes. Altruistic suicide.
Oh,
yes. How does that happen?
Yes, those people have over involvement with the society. And a typical example is a suicide bomber.
Yeah.
Okay.
The suicide bomber.
Okay.
It's not only ending his life, it's ending the lives of
so many other people.
You remember what happened in Sri Lanka or where?
Yes.
Recently? During Easter
yes,
Sunday.
Sri Lanka.
Yeah. Over 300 people died. Because some people who have strong indoctrination, who belong to certain society, and they were over involved with that society, and they thought that they are doing something novel, something great, something noble.
Indoctrination.
Yes. So the society they belong to, they become so over-involved with that. And they thought they are doing something wonderful.
To save them from their misery.
But the truth is that they ended up killing a lot of people. That's another form of suicide, altruistic suicide. No longer a foreign thing now. We see it happening in our nation every now and then.
Yes, sir. So
we need to be very careful. If it's not happening, we pray it doesn't happen in Lagos. But Borno State is part of Nigeria. Yobe and all those other states in the northeastern part of this country, they are part of Nigeria.
You're correct,
and they
sir,
are being affected too. And if care is not taken, I pray it doesn't happen here.
It's a foreign thing. You're very correct,
Yes.
sir. Because I know Nigerians we love life too much in this country.
Yes, but we
so
now have
for
suicide
us
bombers in Nigeria too.
to be seeing or hearing cases of suicide is really very strange and very difficult to accept.
In fact, there was a time where there was a narrative that Nigerians, it's on Africans to be suicidal.
Honestly.
It just seemed very far away until people began to really come out to say that these are the things that we're dealing with. Dr. Adebayo, I want you to we'll just give you a minute to just share with, that's your camera, to share with people what you think, your last words, kind of your counsel.
What can help people to?
Yeah, there's the anomic type of suicide that people feel that, things are not moving on well. That's why you see this, celebrities and all that, living fake lives sometimes on social media. And eventually, all is not well. Some of them, they are not doing well economically. And when there's little economic recession or economic difficulty, such time we find ourselves in the country now, a lot of people, maybe they've lost money through the stock exchange or business not going very well, they think they should end their lives. Not necessarily that they are depressed, but because they see the situations around them and it seems
they can't face up to the shame.
Yes, the integration is weak. And they want to end their lives.
Not because they are depressed.
Not necessarily because they are depressed. So whatever situation anybody is passing through, there's this company that say life is good. Okay? Yes.
LG.
No way.
Whatever,
Pardon me.
People are passing through, that's not the end of the road. That's not the end. Continue to have hope that tomorrow will be a better day. And honestly, you rise above the present situation and you make it. But don't just keep quiet. Don't just keep quiet on your own and allow the situation to overwhelm you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Adebayo. Last words.
Okay, for me, what I want to say to our viewers out there, everybody goes through one challenge or the other at some point in time in their lives. So it's everybody. We are all in this race together. But one thing you should know is that when you're going through challenges are not meant to destroy you. Don't release yourself to the challenge to destroy you. There is always hope, light at the end of the tunnel. If you need to move. If you need to cut some friends, cut some friends. If you need, whatever it is you need to do to retain your sanity and keep your hope alive, do it. Because in the end, you're going to thank God that you did those things. Don't surround yourself with negativity. Move out from anything that is toxic until you are strong enough and you overcome that challenge and you realize that after all, it wasn't meant to really kill you, but it could kill if you allow it. Just know the right thing to do and do it.
Right. So we have heard it all from Dr. Richard Adebayo. He said something very critical. I'm going to leave that with you tonight. He said that you listening, you watching, you are also part of the solution to this menace that is taking over our society. So you can, put in your bit in helping someone. You could encourage someone. You could encourage someone to seek for help. You could encourage someone to see a spiritual leader. You could encourage someone to see a counselor. You could just ensure that the person is getting help. That may not be the appropriate help, but then let's also come together such that the person gets to a general practitioner or a psychiatrist if that is too far. But we know that let's just embrace the referral system. But the truth of the matter is that it's not because you are weak, that's why you are suicidal. It's because you are probably faced with a situation that feels hopeless. But there's always a ray of light at the end of the tunnel. That's the word I'm going to leave you with. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll continue this conversation on our online platforms. We'd really love to hear from you. And our helplines are also available for you to reach out to. Thank you so very much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.